Imagine what you'll know tomorrow.
Nah. I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job, is to spark somebody else watching us. We might not be the ones, but let's not be selfish, and because we're not going to change the world, let's not talk about how we should change it.
Nah.
You know, if I keep talking about how dirty it is out here, somebody going to clean it up. I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job, is to spark somebody else watching us. We might not be the ones, but let's not be selfish, and because we're not going to change the world, let's not talk about how we should change it.
Nah.
You know, if I keep talking about how dirty it is out here, somebody going to clean it up.
Hang on, I want to laugh at this real quick. You're telling me this guy had 15 years to prep. I mean, you got money, you got moolah for 15 years. You know when you out here getting people capped, you getting people discontinued.
Come
You're gonna
on
need
now,
to
you
pick
can
up some
pick up a
combat
class
skills.
with all those years,
You had 15 years.
all that money you
15
was
years.
getting,
You had
all the years
15
to get some combat
years.
skills.
Do you know what 15 years is? Like, really, do you know
You were
what
supposed to
15 years
handle
is?
yourself.
You had 15. And for some strange reason, the father never picked up some combat skills?
You know.
Some form of combat skills? Are you serious?
Tom decided to get some combat skills, just in case it got to demonstrate. Somehow, he had all that energy to choke him under the water. But where was that energy when you was on land? When you had the opportunity to pivot and literally do what you had to do. I mean, come on, man. It doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. You know, to disrespect the grand finale where we were supposed to see Aqua's vengeful intelligence. It's not like, you know, people's dying every single day for less. I mean, look at the landscape. You please, and this is going to be a reminder we're going to give you throughout this episode. Go look out to the world. I mean, at this point, there's too many credible podcasters showing you everything that's interconnected and shows you the actual bigger picture about what's actually happening all across the continents in this particular civilization, and especially in the United States. Comprehend that, and especially in the United States. A one piece, how about a two piece? Come on now. He already stabbed himself. There's no way you're not about to handle that. It made no sense.
Is you serious? Do we gotta remake a E-Day Is You Serious right now? Because, damn, this is the disappointments. When you have credible people who have family members in psychology, and credible people that make realistic story structures for a living. And so when they go out of their way to take a moment and alert the masses, the fandoms, about the unrealistic, poor story writing towards the conclusion, the intentional, unrealistic story writing at the conclusion, it resonates with the masses. It resonates with the fan base to where, I mean, you see it. You can't even go on any comment thread without seeing it. It wasn't just that people was burning the books for the funsies. Nah. It's the fact that you have to respect the characters that you built up because they live in a reality. And it has parallels to this particular environment, physical reality, that a lot of the people tuning in navigate. And so when a person tunes in, they're looking to get some of this information so that once they put down the book, they can go out there and they can do their part. Whether it's small scale ripples or grand ripples, people go into these stories to get reminders. So that when they step out, whether it's subconsciously, whether it's consciously, they're able to be more competent. And so when you're building a character, guess what? You can't disrespect that character's psychology. What you built up throughout the arcs, you can't disrespect that. Because now you stacked it up to where there's no taking that back. You can't pull a J. Cole and now all of a sudden you're gonna take might delete later. Nah, you're not doing that. You gotta be respectful of what you build up and not disrespect the viewers thinking they're stupid. Like he came out here looking to spit in people's mouths and pretend like people's stupid. Like that's basically, he just threw like a literal middle fingers to you, acting like you're not gonna catch on, you're not gonna notice it. Trying to throw strategic, corrupt, selective amnesia. Hoping and praying and with fingers crossed that you don't catch on. That's not cool and that's not it. Like, how hard is it? I mean, you put in so much work to build up these arcs. How hard is it to have, if you're tired, have somebody near you and you have a team. So let's not pretend like motherfuckers don't have a team. Get somebody to finish writing it. Look, you got ChatGPT nowadays. You can just, hey, Alexa, or hey, Siri, or hey, whatever the heck. You record the information of what you're saying, and then you have the AI compute the information, and then you go about taking that information and you pass it to whoever you got to pass it to. It's not that difficult to make the most realistic outcome about what everything stacked up to. And realistically, I mean, this is not capping, bro. Like, the character's father could have easily sidestepped number one. Number two, Aqua has been built up to be manipulative, but not just blind revenge. No, he was supposed to be vengeful with intelligence. He was supposed to be a fucking Siberian tiger out here with precision, because he's not blindly following revenge. If it's blind revenge, that's not all right. But when it's vengeful intelligence, you have to have discernment. Depending on your levels of personal lived experiences and your computational abilities and your discernment levels is going to determine how much comprehension you have. This is right in your face. And Aqua had Goro and Aqua mixed in. But he himself, even before being Goro, he had other lifetimes. Why? Because a process doesn't happen just once. All across the cosmic molecular ocean, from the micro to the macro, a process never just happens one time. The same process you did to end up in a brief planetary body is the same process that you can't do again. And just because a particular civilization hasn't achieved the ability to obtain the tools to measure it, doesn't mean that you're not going to obtain those tools to measure it later. It doesn't mean that you should do it to begin with. Because there's some civilizations right now that's living as though they're in the 13th century, and you best believe, out of the millions upon billions of years, in the cosmic molecular ocean, there's just so many civilizations, even advanced civilizations, that just because you didn't encounter them doesn't mean that they don't exist. They do exist. Especially with all the documentation that all the other civilizations have been doing. And the reason that's brought up is just to remind you, the viewers, there's a whole ton of credible podcasters that have been pointing out a lot of interconnected things that shows you the actual bigger picture about what has been happening right now, especially in the United States. It's not just the last 5 centuries. It's not just the last 5 decades. All of that correlates to history happening right now in real time. And the reason that stays is because you have to look at the landscape. Especially when it comes to certain industries, you have to look at it. You can't just say, oh, blame Diddy and blah, blah, blah. No, get more precise about the specific corrupt oligarch bad apple that groomed Diddy. All right? Get more precise about making new required overdue infrastructures and new required overdue laws to drastically decrease the components that have been desperately destabilizing large percentages of a particular civilization. Like, when you remove the components, guess what? It's all percentages. Psychologically and biologically, it's all percentages. Remove those that have been extracting and misdirecting the population's currency. When you drastically decrease those specific corrupt oligarchs' bad apples, that becomes non-existent in the environment and the physical reality of the particular civilization. And that goes into a whole other video discussion, which we're going to be placing in the upcoming video discussions on the channel. But have a comprehension of that. There's those that don't want you to know certain information because of what it does to you, internally and externally. When there's vital information that can make you a more competent person and makes you operate from a place of actual intellectual sincerity, where you're sharing radiating strength, that ripples out and that has direct impacts. So when you have more people doing that and you increase the percentage, it's just percentages, no capping, it's just percentages. You have more percentages aligning themselves and breaking lower dead end paradigms, and you drastically decrease the lower paradigm thinkers, guess what's gonna happen? You have less people trying to withhold vital information from you. This is all just information. So now when you take that right there, that key piece, and now you interconnect it with what was just stated earlier, that there's a whole ton of credible podcasters out here alerting you about everything that's interconnected, the cartel, the fentanyl, the specific corrupt oligarchs, bad apples, strategically that had hijacked key government sectors and then misdirected the population's military to destabilize the other continents, to displace people on the other continents, and then how that then messes with the economy and worsens the debt in the particular civilization. Because they're not reversing the debt. No, they're worsening the debt because they're nothing more than civilizational viruses. From the micro to the macro. And this isn't just blindly blaming. No, get more precise. You don't blindly blame the government. You get more precise about the specific corrupt oligarchs, bad apples. So when you get precise, what you see within them is always just either psychological or biological. What that means is, if you make millions of dollars, and we're going to keep giving these reminders in a variety of ways that connects with people that need to hear it in different ways. One person might understand it one way, the other person might understand it the other way. There's variations. The variations are required. The reminders are required. The most important thing in life is reminders. So we're going to continue to remind you about this example. Right now, you're making millions. If you're making millions right now, those that come after you, do you want them that when they become billionaires, do you want them to extract currency from the populations in shady ways that worsens the quality of life and depletes the quality of life of the particular civilization, that causes large percentages of the particular civilization to end up in lower dead-end paradigms that then spills over across the major cities and you see all the fucking bullshit you see? Excuse my language. Do you want that? Do you want more liabilities in the environment, the physical reality across the major cities that can then be an danger to you and your loved ones when you eventually get loved ones? Because there's some people that's operating in lower dead-end paradigms that just because they don't have loved ones at the moment, they think that they're at some point not going to get loved ones. They think that at some point they're not going to gain enough key information. You're not going to encounter some information that's going to suddenly stir you internally and cause you to heal yourself internally. And when you heal yourself internally, you start to project out. You heal the internal and then you heal the external. You break the lower dead-end paradigms and then you start operating from a place that you have always been able to access. It has just been a matter of you encountering key vital information that then you become alert about, and then it nudges you to want to become a more competent person for yourself and others. And that directly correlates to when you get the masses, the majority percentage of a particular civilization, to get together as humanity, where it counts the most, and declassify everything to allow humanity, the majority percentage of a particular civilization, to make required, overdue, informed decisions. That's going to then lead to the cleaning of the environment, to where in the environment, the specific corrupt oligarchs, bad apples, will not be able to misuse the extracted currency to strategically get rid of evidences, to strategically misuse technologies, to build strategic corrupt selective amnesia at the populations. Will not be able to use it to dangle checks and try to misdirect the actual innovators and the researchers and scientists of the lower and middle class of the population that actually have an incentive to rediscover and make innovations that help boost the quality of life of the particular civilization. There have been many people who have went into these key top fields of information that weren't asking to encounter what they ended up encountering. And when they rediscovered the vital information, they had that comprehension. They had to pass it to the populations. It was key puzzle pizza, and they went about doing it, even risking their profession and even risking their own lives. And some of them did die, but their bodies have accumulated. And so now the legal mobilization is happening. Just because at the moment you might not be seeing it right in front of you, it doesn't mean it's not happening. But you gotta do your part. Whether it's small ripples, grand ripples, you gotta do your part. You have to become a more competent being, a more competent person, a more competent soul. Because too many credible fellow bright minds, especially the actual innovators from the middle class, that have always been the ones that propel the particular civilizations. It's not just Nikola Tesla. Been plenty of fellow bright minds that have been rediscovering already existing advanced levels of science. The problem has been in the particular civilization is that the environment and the physical reality has components that have to be drastically decreased. And to drastically decrease those components so that evidences cannot be strategically discarded in the environment, so that credible people aren't killed off in the environment, so that innovators can step forward and not be threatened, coerced, and killed into not revealing vital information, you have to place the new required overdue infrastructures and the new required overdue transaction laws, which is going to be explained in a video discussion. And we're not going to talk about it here. Just know it's coming up in the video discussion. And comprehend there are solutions, sustainable, attainable solutions. Fellow bright minds have been gathering and making and adding on to in the blueprint. And when you clean the environment, it's going to be less people operating in lower dead end paradigms. It's going to be, because this is the thing, when you get the technology, whether it's 0 point energy, etc., when you get the technology,
The new required overdue transaction law is going to directly impact the environment and the physical reality of the particular civilization. And the new open source ledger with the accountability button and how it works and how fellow credible podcasters are going to have fun with that discussion that's being placed on the channel. You're going to be able to find the discussion on the channel. Everything that has been shared so far is to help you comprehend the landscape. Not just the United States, all across the continent. And we're helping you add on to everything. And we're going to go full circle right now.
going to be shared in the other video discussion that's being placed in the channel. And it's helping the particular civilization. All of that is being reminded so that you can have comprehension about the landscape and then take a good look at the limitations of certain writers. That way you can have comprehension when they do fuck shit that makes no sense.
That way you have a comprehension, keyword, comprehension.
As to why and the motivations as to why someone does something that makes completely no sense and they ruin their own series. You know, you put in all this work and then you do like a cheap cop-out because of who you're bending over for. And I mean, it's just disgraceful. It really is. Very disgraceful. Especially when it's 2025 and it's like people already have caught on enough about what goes on behind closed doors. You know, it's not just the Diddy nonsense, it's a whole ton, man. It's a whole ton. People know what's going on the continents, especially in the United States. Too much infighting. Everybody knows what's going on. The reasonings, I'm not going to get into the specifics here in this particular video discussion. Have comprehension that fellow bright minds, actual innovators have been gathering and are making legal mobilization and actual sustainable, attainable solutions. With that stated, Aqua's character, based on how he was built up, was supposed to have enough manipulative computation abilities to get a fan to discontinue the other character. Which would have been the perfect karma, the perfect vengeance, because we don't do blind revenge here. You gotta be able to make the distinction. Vengeful intelligence, there's reasons behind it, it is what it is. When the system fails, it's up to the populace to get justice. Especially when you see what has been running rampant, what has been unchecked, that has to be checked, counterbalanced, and legally eradicated now. There's a lot that's going on, man. There's a lot. And you're not here to be passive. You have the ability to navigate for a reason. You have the ability to absorb information for a reason. And you got to improve your discernment levels. Because at the end of the day, when it counts the most important thing that is the priority is humanity. These brief bodies are going to disappear. It's about what you do while you're in these brief bodies. Nobody's capping. So when you look at the environment, you see a lot of cleaning that has to happen. We don't got time for the nonsense. And so when you have the power to stimulate and help make vulnerable minds
break lower dynamic paradigms and stimulate and nudge minds, but then you choose not to, that's very disgusting. Especially when you build up a story, you build up a series, and you have the potential to nudge people, make people more alert, so people can navigate and become more competent. But what you do, you decide to ruin what you built up. You built up a good story, and then you just fumbled it because, there's a plethora of reasons. And a lot of people have already caught on to it, And it's just like, wow. You see the environment, especially the one that Aqua was in, that has a lot of parallels. And Aqua was supposed to, based on everything that was built up, discontinue the character. Aqua was not supposed to die there. And the fact that Aqua stabbed himself, the character's father that had years to learn some type of martial art, just messing around. Are you serious? He ain't gonna pick up some martial art out of all those years? You telling me he didn't pick up something on the side? Like, it's not even a problem, bro. Like, he's fit, he looks fit. He didn't pick up some type of martial art knowing that he was out here discontinuing people. He didn't think that he had some ops that was going to try to go after him at some point. You're not about to bamboozle the audience, because people don't have amnesia like that. These sleazy, disrespectful writers make the assumption and fold where they want to throw strategic, corrupt, selective amnesia at you. And this isn't even about no fan base or anything. I'm not even a fan. Like, a friend of mine, she told me about the series. She told me how upset she was. Another associate of mine told me about it. And we have friends and family that they're in fields of psychology. They're in actual professional fields of storytelling. And they noticed the inconsistencies and the reasonings behind the limitations that ruined and made such an unrealistic ending that really isn't even an ending. It's just nonsense. And that's why a lot of people ended up burning the books. And I'm not wasting any more time in regards to this. We'll explore other video discussions, and if fellow bright minds want to add on to all the points that was discussed, you can. And please have a wonderful week. Personally, me, I'm not wasting any more time on this nonsense. I'm not. And some people are going to be like, damn, why are you being such a douche? I didn't want to be a douche. It's just that when people force that out of you, sometimes what can you do? Sometimes you can transmute, but sometimes it's required to do it so that next time they don't keep fucking doing it. Excuse my language. Because the bully's going to keep bullying you emotionally, physically, until you stand your ground. And bullying isn't just physical, by the way. It trickles down. What do you think those kids were born one day and they just wanted to bully just to bully? Nah, you can mitigate that. You can put a stop to it from the household, straight up. But when the parents are subjected to certain things, it translates to how they then treat the kids, and then it translates to how the kids go about navigating. So let's talk about actual accountability from the micro to the macro. And we can get into the specifics. But personally, I'm going to save that for a whole other video discussion. If you want a video discussion on any key topics for me to expand on, we can make a video discussion later. And with that said, have a great week.
Because we're not about to waste any more time. That writer literally stole a lot of tropes from popular creations and strategically did that to lure people in, whether it's children, teenagers, young adults, people that's going through things, and they want to encounter a story and see if something resonates so that it can improve their resolve, so that when they're out there, they get a reminder, oh snap, I remember this valuable lesson from this story. It built up, it compounded, it made sense, but for you to build up a story and then ruin what you already built up and not stand on business or what you're already doing, it's a big middle fingers to all these children, these teenagers, these young adults, these people that go out into our continents, locally across the major cities, and it's up to them to do their part to share and radiate strength. But if you're putting them down and you're messing with their mental health, how are they going to go out there if you're giving them unrealistic despair that makes no sense? Because life isn't all just despair. And in that situation, Aqua was far too intelligent to just do blind revenge. Nah, he had a valid reason. He had vengeful intelligence. And
The way that the character was built up, the way Aqua was built up, we were supposed to see that intelligence. He was supposed to, if you already showed him Miki doing murders and doing all this nonsense, you were supposed to show Aqua doing what he had, because it's already happening, bro. We're not about to cherry pick this. We're not cherry picking this. Go look at Villain Saga. Go look at all these different series that have grown adult writers that take first-hand experience and second-hand experience, and they respectfully weave it. And when they compound it, they stick to what is already built up when the story takes a life of its own. You have to respect that. And the writers did not respect that. And hence, we're going to go into extensive detail in a other discussion. I have other things I have to do this week. Fellow Bright Minds, add on your perspectives. What do you think about how the writer made no sense?